All right, here we are back again in the studio, and we've got Matterall with us. He's our roving correspondent live outside of CO2's tower in MTECO. How about an update there, big guy?
Thanks. Actually, if you want complete updates and coverage, you can get that on Imperium.news. Riva, our editor, is covering it live. She's live blogging the MTECO EE8 battle that's happening, and it's going to happen probably for some time. It's a slow process when you have 5,000 people fighting in the same system. And so as far as an update goes, early on, the battleship fleets got in there from PL and NC, and I think the Doomsday went off and killed the NC's primary FC, which was Vince Draken. So he died before anything got started. And since then, it's really been wave after wave of bombers coming from different directions, and the battleships are just firing back and picking them off. Oh, I'm sorry, that's kids. Inside my battleship.
I was going to say, it sounds like there also like a bit of death going on locally where you are there, Matterall.
Can you hear the mayhem?
Do you live in a monkey house?
For those that live online too much, that's called real life, right?
Yeah, when you have a couple 8-year-olds with play dates. Oof.
Oh yeah, that can be challenging.
Life? What?
Yeah, I know. Kids, wives, work, that fun stuff we come here.
Reporting from the battlefield, yeah, the howling works with that. But yeah, so and then another FC got killed recently, PK, and so yeah, so it's a slow process. It'll probably be going on for another 5 hours. It's about 75% destroyed. Sorry, it's 25% destroyed.
Oh, wow. Right, so still 75% remaining. When you're actually doing the split of 5,000 players, how's that looking at the moment, Matterall? With sort of like, we've obviously got PamFam on one side and then Tesco on the other. So what's that kind of split looking like?
Well, actually, there's a lot of people from all over the place inside the system wanting to either watch it or participate by shooting at it. Some of them get run over, some of them don't. But as far as I know, the test or the circle of test group has stood down as far as fleets go, and they're just really skirmishing with bombers. So it's a done fight. It's just going to take a while to chew through the Keepstar itself. It's such a massive structure.
So couldn't happen to a better bunch.
So CO2 not fighting like lions?
Well, one guy's fighting like a lion inside that Keepstar because he's using the Doomsday to, wipe out FCs and stuff.
Well, asset safety is a wonderful thing, so I heard.
Yeah, so he doesn't have much, and they don't have much to worry about, although they were evacuating ships earlier in the day. And they did, I believe, they attacked a Russian fleet that was moving around in Losec nearby. So
good for them.
Their intention wasn't really, yeah, I guess they have to get something, but their intention probably wasn't to fight outright because it would really just be a losing proposition.
Yeah, that would be challenging. I'm not shedding a tear for them. Sorry.
I suspect that
I can't say I have much sympathy either.
I suspect that you guys aren't because the history there is that CO2 was one of historically had a changing of sides in the middle of a war, which was a pivotal moment in the conflict.
It was actually right at the beginning.
Well, I don't know. You say that, but it's like, CO2, stand up, guys. I trust them completely. I trust Test. I trust Darkness. I trust all of those guys. Completely stand up and honest.
Well, I wouldn't say that was the beginning of the war because there was a lot of fighting going on in Losec before in Honoken. There was big battles going on with different groups. That was the first, actually, that was the second pivotal fight of the whole war. And that really kind of started the slow withdrawal of Imperium away out of Nullsec. So it was kind of the snapping point, but it was the writing was on the wall at that point, and they kind of conveniently switched sides to keep their space. And here they are getting their space, and this is CO2 getting their space taken away from them, and now getting their trophy, the Keepstar, destroyed.
Well,
by former allies.
To I guess what is it? NCPL, PanFam. What are you guys called?
NCPL and Horde. Some people call them PamFam.
Well, thank you guys for twisting the knife for us. Saves us a lot of trouble.
I believe you'll find it's actually New World Order Gonnell. So that's how that's all going nowadays. The the other kind of interesting thing from all of this, though, Matterall, because obviously you're well placed to maybe give us a bit of an idea. Once the Keep Star falls, what do you think might happen over in Tribute? Because we've already got CO2 that have said that they're leaving Tribute for the time being. Pandemic Horde have said that they're no longer moving into Tribute. Test are obviously still over in Vale. What's going to be like the next moves up there? Is like, are you just going to leave the Tribute as a vacuum and allow like CO2 to come back in, or are you going to find someone to fill that slot?
It's a very good question, and you're right. There was the intention of moving Horde into the area. When jump changes shifted and capitals could jump a little further, that opened up the possibility of attack from different regions that weren't there before. And so it made it a less attractive prospect to keep Tribute at that time, and that changed some minds. I think Tribute was historically something that NC wanted. Just to have it. They used to fight for it against the Northern Coalition and I think Declan Coalition, which was before the Imperium. But I don't think they want to have it either. I'm not sure. I'm not privy to those conversations. So it's a shifting matter. Nobody knows what's going to happen to Tribute after this war.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like, I wouldn't expect you to give us anything like OPSEC. It's quite nice to like speculate because obviously, if nothing fills that and CO2 does come back to there, then you're going to end up in a situation where you've got CO2 and you've got Test, both with strong kind of ties with each other now because of obviously what's been happening over the last few months. And with the extended jump ranges, that could actually kind of start to cause issues for the likes of Darkness and Moa and other kind of like northern entities like living up there because Test and CO2 together do actually bring considerable numbers to bear.
Well, it'll be interesting is to see if that coalition stays together. If CO2 actually goes to, say, the drone region and starts to try to take space there, or at least to make PL's life miserable by attacking renter colonies there. Does that coalition stay together since they're so far apart? The future is completely unclear because there's a lot of factors at play. Who moves into Tribute? If it's weak, maybe CO2 sticks around and Test and CO2 stick together and try to move back in. If they split apart and move away, do they fall apart as a coalition? Does NC take Tribute and hold it? Or does Horde change their mind? It's all up in the air right now.
Oh, very much so. But it's like I always get these like mixed up, so I'm probably going to choose the wrong one. Circle of Two, was it Tenal they moved to or Venal? I always forget.
Sorry, did they move to Venal?
Yeah, it was Venal they moved to, wasn't it?
I believe it was Venal.
Historically?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like historically CO2 started in Venal. That's the bit that I was getting to make there. So they started out there. They then had a relationship back with the CFC, as it was called, like way back when, and then they moved out into Tribute. So they've got very strong ties to that area. So I'm even curious because we all know that you move an alliance and you keep moving it too much and it always causes problems. We know that the CO2 capital fleet is based over in Ornanen at the moment. So there again is sort of like moving back into Tribute or even basing operations out of Venal, is completely doable for CO2 at this time.
Yeah, and to the credit of leadership in CO2, it looks like a lot of people are sticking with CO2. When any alliance this big loses territory, they tend to fracture because people were there for the territory. And it looks like they're relatively intact. So they have a lot of possibilities if they stay together.
Yeah, I've been checking them out on Dotland, and I have seen them kind of lose about 10% in numbers, I think it was. But, there again, it does kind of depend on, what their kind of plans are. I mean, would you be expecting GigX to do another Alliance update after this Keepstar battle today?
Oh, I imagine at the point where he decides he wants to tell people what their next move is, he'll give that to his troops. The good thing is when that's more, he has some buffer time because they are staying together. 10% is a very small loss considering getting removed from your SOV. Usually fractures alliances into pieces and fail cascades them. So that's a pretty good sign that they're unified. So it depends on the urgency he feels to reassure his troops that they have a future, that there is a next step, stick with us, that kind of thing. That's when you get those State of the Unions.
Very much so. It just seemed to me that with the loss of the Keepstar, because he obviously did the morale stuff not so long ago, that we might actually see a kind of direction again to come from GigX as to what's happening with CO2. You're absolutely spot on as well. Is like to lose 500 or so out of it was getting up to 5,500 members for CO2. It's not a big deal. I mean, that can just be like ratting orcs or like stuff like that, moved out to other groups for easier ratting or faction wars or the like that. So they are still holding quite well together. But I think that they will need a very clear direction at some point, and then that might be kind of like quite telling on CO2 at that time. Does that seem ridiculous?
Not at all. I think that's exactly on point. That's what I would expect as well. My understanding of CO2, I fought alongside them a long time ago, maybe 2011, was in the South when AAA was losing their space to groups like the Initiative and Dead Terrorists, and CO2 was a small alliance at that point. And to see them come north, join up with the Imperium after a time, and grow to the size they've grown, it's been pretty amazing. And then to be able to hold that, it has to tell you that they're doing something right inside of leadership there.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Something has to be going right for them. I mean, there are kind of like, lots of kind of history and stuff like that, such as the logs that we had from like CO2 and stuff like that. So as always with ETH, there's a rich kind of like history out there if you want to kind of dig around. It's not just what's been happening on Reddit for the last couple of weeks or so. You start poking around and there's some really great stories out there. Where they go in the future, who knows? Because I mean, we have seen collapse of large entities historically. Personally, I'd kind of like them to like hang around for a bit. It's sort of like I'd like us to put like the killing blow to CO2 at some point. So I don't want them to go away completely yet.
You want them to stick around so you can kill them. Yeah. Well, again, Imperium people will remember that CO2 betrayed them in a very serious way. And I thought that would destroy their reputation. And this may be comeuppance for that, but maybe that's yet to come. And maybe it'll be dealt by the hand of Goonswarm themselves.
I hope so.
We must be getting close to the next event here.
Yep, it looks like Space Village is actually landing on grid, and Thunderstruck is as well.
All right, guys, I will see you later. Thanks for having me on. And look
thanks, Matero.
Sure, Imperium.news. If you want updates on the MTACO, should blow up in a few hours. Thanks, guys.
Sounds good.
Toodles.
Thank you.
That's one thing everybody said, right? That Keepstar is going to blow up in a few moments, 4 hours in a few moments, right? Because
we're going to be a few very long moments.
Okay, well, surely we need to get kind of like cracking again. We've got another match coming up soon. So just so you know very quickly, this is going to be Space Violence versus Thunderstruck. This could be an interesting match, shall we say.
All right, here we are in a match. Sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely, and the match is already underway. We had a few technical difficulties there, but just very quickly, as you can see on the screen, Space Violence, they brought a team. Thunderstruck, they brought optimism.
Yeah, no, we're sitting here with Thunderstruck with three folks, right? A Mechanical, a Scorpion, and an Astarte.
Well, I'm not even seeing that Navy Scorpion on grid at the moment. So
Well, it's
I was
gone
seeing
now.
The
It just
Macario
blew
need a
up.
start date.
The Scorpion has exploded.
yeah,
So
I
the
mean,
Macario looks like it's in armor now.
yeah, no, I mean, and it's like, they're just going to get like smashed at the moment. Is Space Violence have bought a team and Thunderstruck for one reason or another. I'm not quite sure like the backstory of that. Hopefully, we'll get a bit of information as to how that came about. But yes, there's definitely not many there. Just hearing that, quite simply, Thunderstruck were not there. They were not ready. They were not on time, and they are suffering heavily for that.
Oh yeah, it looks like that material is going to go down right about now, and
That's
unless he
right.
runs, the Astarte's going next.
And I'll tell you what, that Macarial went down quicker than Oh No Borax's mum.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Well, if anyone's flown with Oh No Borax, then you'll know exactly what that was about. So we've got Indy hanging out in that Astarte, and I should imagine that Space Violence are just going to absolutely just like murder it when they get it like pinned down. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure what we're going to see Indy do here. Anyway, I want to give a shout out as well to we've actually got the team captain over on Space Violent, which is Zazad, and they actually picked up the captaincy role when I believe it was Serious Business kind of went AFK and didn't come back, and Zazad very kindly picked up the team to keep that all going. They came along with a Scorpion, Aneros, Navy Harbinger, Navy Brutix, Ashamir and Kruor. They're again only fielding 6 pilots, so still not taking advantage of that 7 pilot slot there. And, that's going to be an interesting composition to watch out for as we get through into like later rounds.
Yeah, it looks like they've pretty much got him pinned down. It's just a question of can they get enough DPS on him and get rid of him quickly.
Yeah, it is like I'm watching that, and I mean it really is just a matter of time now. Toying, it's almost cruel to say the least. And when I say cruel, funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
sure we're gonna
that said cruel equals funny.
There you go.
Sometimes.
It'll be interesting to hear the backstory why they weren't ready on time. It looks like they were only able to bring half their team. That was part of our delay earlier.
Yeah, there again, I think it's we have to remember is we are truly a multinational organisation. So it's like we've got people from all around the world being up at like stupid times of the day in order to try and get this all doing. So the fact that we got through as many matches as we did with relatively few kind of hiccups has actually been quite surprising. So kudos to all of those kind of like people that have been up to stuff, particularly Skeptic, Kyala, and also Sothrasil as well. So it's like heroic kind of job done for them.
Absolutely, and that looks like the match there. Thunderstruck is now done.
Absolutely. I think we should go back over to the studio then, and we'll do an analysis of that one.
A very in-depth one.
Yeah, very